Hey, Dreadbull
That
will
was
not be joining us today. He was sick all last Wednesday. He got real sick and was sick until actually today. He still wasn't feeling good. He thought he had
wow.
COVID. It
Oh
sounded like
God.
it could have been COVID. I had to bail out last second.
Sure, man. Of
Oh, I
course.
I understand. I mean, he feels bad about it. I said, "Don't worry, man. It's okay." You
Right.
know, yeah, just like we
I mean,
would with anybody.
yeah. I mean, we got the talented ones here at the show, so it's all
Exactly.
good.
That's right. But enough about the captain of your ship. Yeah, last
Man,
show
that was
was so much
oh,
fun, man.
that was a blast, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Man,
really,
really
really good.
enjoyed it.
And it was great having Mark on board
Yeah.
to do that. I am psyched about Alien and the Thing. Oh my
What a
God.
great choice. That's going to be so difficult, dude.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
oh my
really.
God.
Hey John,
Hello.
how are you,
Hey,
man?
nice to meet you, man. This is I'm Joe, the one that reached out to you. So it's finally great to see you face to face.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Now,
you're
where
welcome.
are you guys located? And tell me a little bit about the show, because I'm not familiar with the show.
What? You're not familiar with Heavy Metal Horror Podcast? We are across Northern Ohio, John.
Oh,
Yeah, spread out. One of our members isn't here. He just had to bail out last minute because his wife just came down with what he thinks is COVID, so he's taking care of her. Um, and we've been doing the show. This is our 102nd episode,
okay.
and we've been doing the show a couple of years. And we record, and then I edit, and then we put out the show on YouTube for the video, and then we also release our audio through Unsane Radio, which is another podcast I've been doing about 3.5 years. We just did our 226th episode, and we are out on the all the podcast streams that way. And so we talk horror films, we interview rock celebrities like yourself, we talk about music that we like, and just three longtime friends
Reviews
wanted to
and
do a
yeah.
podcast and just hang out and talk about the things we love. Well, we'll be here all night then. We got about 5 hours of questions, so no, it's good.
I
um,
might be able to keep you entertained for at least a couple.
Great, fantastic.
Hey,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Cool.
Doing this show, it just started off. We started just because I've been doing Unsane Radio with another group of friends for a while, and then Chop Top or Joe and I just were talking, and he said, "Man, I'd really love to do a show with you." And our other friend Mark, he was there, and we said, "Well, let's what are we gonna do?" And so we came up with Heavy Metal Horror, and we
Okay.
just started doing it, doing movies and talking about bands we liked, and going through their discographies, and then during the pandemic, we
Right.
I'd reached out to Carl Sanders of Nile, and because he was doing guitar lessons online, and I said, could I just pay for your time and you come on our show and we can interview you? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, holy fuck, we're gonna talk to Carl Sanders, Jesus Christ,
That was
and
the
that's
first
that.
big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like crazy because we were all Nile fans, and he's just a nice guy. And then from there we just kind of snowballed. Just a lot of bands that we've been able to talk to and get to know. And so it
Unbelievable.
just blows our minds that we get to hang out with people like yourself and just like, wow, this is like crazy. So we're really grateful that you'd want to spend some time with us.
Absolutely. So, sure. Let's let's
All
let's
right, let's
let's
rock and
do
roll.
it.
We're gonna do our great intro, and then we're gonna get right to it.
Okay.
All right. And the finished product, there'll be a great music and stuff here. So, but I'll send you links when we're all done. So,
This is Slasher Dave of Acid Witch, and you are watching Heavy Metal Horror.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, this is Chop Top and keep it heavy.
And you are watching and listening to a heavy
Heavy.
metal horror. Whoa, kiddies. Kiddies, we've got a great show tonight. John Macko from Fifth Angel is here. John, welcome to Heavy Metal Horror.
Thank you, guys. I'm so grateful that you have me on your show, and I hope we're going to have a fine blast.
Yes, yes, we are. We're gonna have a great time. we're gonna have a lot of fun. We got lots of questions, and we have some fun games and things like that we like to play with our guests. So, it's gonna be good. So, all right. So let's start a little bit with background. We ask some questions we'd like to know of everybody. So where did your love of music come from originally?
Me personally,
Yeah. Hmm.
um, you're born with it. I'm a firm believer in that. I believe it's a gene that is passed along, the lineage of people. And I know that received that musical gene, and it came from my great grandmother that came from Austria. Um, so, my mom has the gene, my aunt had the gene, I have the gene, and I passed it to my daughter, Madison. She has the gene. So, I think there's something that you're born with, and it calls to you. So, I would say when I was probably, 13, 14 years old, um, you know, I always had, even before that, I had a profound interest and love of music. Just listening to like the shit my parents, played, Beatles and uh, Tijuana Brass, Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass, and they would have, all these, vinyl albums, and I would listen to them. And when I was in like junior high school, I remember listening to the Monkees, and then the Beatles, and then I had a couple of neighbors that lived on my block, and they were also musical. Um, One of the guys was a guitar player, the other guys, played drums, and we would just kind of circle around to our homes, back then, and we would just listen to music. And one of my buddies, his older brother, we were listening like to the Monkees one day, and I remember him coming in, and he came in and he took the record off, and he said, "Why you guys listening to this fucking bullshit? Let me play you some real shit." And he put on Jimi Hendrix.
Nice. So is that where your love of metal began, like in hard rock?
I mean, I would say yes. I would say I'm a little bit of a late bloomer as far as metal goes. Um, I really didn't listen to a lot of metal until I moved to Seattle in the mid '80s, and then joined Fifth Angel. Before that, I was kind of listening to more mainstream rock. I grew up listening to a lot of, what I call progressive rock, which is not like progressive metal, but I grew up listening to bands like Yes. And so like when I was learning how to play, like one of the first songs I learned how to play was like Roundabout,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
start with something easy, John.
Yeah, and the guy that taught me, and that of course I didn't even fricking know, and he said you got to play with a pick. So unlike most bass players, I learned how to play with a pick first. So he taught me how to play like Roundabout and some of the other Yes songs, and then I started listening to an English band called Gentle Giant, and then listening to of course Genesis. So and the thing is like all of those bands which had phenomenal bass players, of course Michael Rutherford,
Mhm.
from Yes. Derek Shulman was the bass player in Gentle Giant, and they were all pick players. So that's kind of how I learned how to play the bass. But that was kind of really my original foundation. I kind of started listening to that stuff. Now at the same time, my little group of friends, we were also listening to ZZ Top, and Bad Company and Black Sabbath. So I will say that probably Black Sabbath would be my metal, influence. Although back then we didn't call it metal,
Right, right.
I I bought the first fucking Black Sabbath, album. Then I had, whatever the three or four consecutive ones. So I was a hardcore Sabbath, but I never thought of it as heavy metal. I never even really heard that term back then.
Hmm.
I'm an old guy, so what can I say? To me, it was just great music. It was great songs.
Yeah.
So
And
so
a
that
phenomenal rhythm section, you
right,
know?
well,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was really even before my musical skills developed. So I didn't even really realize like how good they were,
Hmm.
And same goes with some of the other groups. Um, then when I got into high school and my teens, we started to kind of branch off into more of the jazz fusion. So Return to Forever, um, Bill Bruford. That's when I got introduced to Alan Holdsworth,
Hmm.
who to this day is still a huge influence, on me. So I remember, Alan Holdsworth when he played with UK, and so I was really into a lot of that kind of stuff. And you know, and which is not metal at all. And then it really wasn't until I got to Seattle and then joined Fifth Angels when I really started to get into metal. So I almost kind of went like backwards into metals, if you
Yeah.
can,
That's quite a foundation, though, of musical styles, and it all
yeah,
lends itself.
yeah,
Good music is good music, no matter what genre,
exactly, right.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead,
um,
Chop.
Mahavishnu Orchestra, they're a big influence on me. So stuff like that.
Along that line, John, what do you consider some of your greatest bass influences?
Well, in addition to the people that I just mentioned, I would also, um, I would probably Geddy Lee. I'm a big Geddy. Like he's a big fan of mine. I can't say that I don't necessarily play like him, but he has been a big influence on me. So I would say, like Geddy Lee, and then the guys that I mentioned earlier, obviously Chris Squire, um, and Michael Rutherford, Derek Shulman. Um, those are the guys that kind of, come to mind, although they're not metal bass players. I don't know if I really consider myself like a metal bass player. I think, as far as metal bass players, I think the two best metal bass players are John Mayall from, um, Dream
Dream
Theater,
Theater.
and of course
Yeah.
Alex Webster. Those guys are masters.
Hmm.
But honestly, I can't fucking play like that. So,
Who can, right? Yeah.
those guys are in a different league.
Yeah, yeah. Dream Theater, they're another that progressive bands that borrow like from Yes and King Crimson and then Rush and then Dream Theater
Right,
is like
right.
the next incarnation and
Yeah,
other bands like that. Phenomenal.
and they are like one of my favorite bands, and ironically, um, so the original manager for Fifth Angel is a guy named Derek Simon. Um, he was out of New York, and at the time, and he was working for a big New York management company called Concrete, if you guys remember, and
Mhm.
so Derek was handling us, and then he was also handling Dream Theater. So I had met those guys like in the late '80s. I remember when we were in Manhattan, I think we were either shooting the Time Will Tell video or maybe when we were tracking drums for Time Will Tell. But we were in New York, and I remember, meeting some of the guys from Dream Theater. So a little bit of a you know uh, you know um, thing happening there.
That's
That's
really
cool.
cool. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Now, Fifth Angel reformed after a long break. Can you talk about how that happened, the reformation? Because, like a few other bands that we have talked to, like there's a resurgence, what is now considered like the new wave of traditional heavy metal, and I think Fifth Angel was at the forefront, and then broke up and then came back together. And few bands kind of come back together with even, I think, more success or better music. And arguably, Fifth Angel is one of those bands. Can you talk a little bit about how the reformation of the band happened?
Sure, and yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. I think it was a little out of accident. From my memory, the band had broken up, dispersed, and we had gotten a call from the motor for the Keep It True festival, Oliver, and he had actually, I don't even know how he got my phone number, but he got my phone number. So in the summer of 2009, I got a phone call from Europe, and this guy Oliver, and he's like, hey John, I have this festival every year, and we have all the classic metal bands, and we would like to have Fifth Angel headline for the 2010 festival. And of course, I'm thinking, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, like who gives a shit about Fifth Angel? Nobody, no, I figured nobody freaking cares, And I even kind of told him. He goes, oh, you'd be surprised. You guys still have a really big following. And I was really floored by that. I had no idea because I had kind of gotten out of the music business. I had gotten, remarried and I had a whole different career and I wasn't even playing music. So it was really like an epiphany. And I said, and he goes, well, what do you think? And I said, well, I don't know. I'll call the guys, and that's really kind of where things, the ball started to slowly kind of turn. Um, we did wind up playing the 2010 festival. Not all of the original members. It was myself, Ed Archer, and Kendall Bechtel, and we did okay. I don't think we were great, but we did okay. So that kind of got things going, and then for a couple of years we thought, well, hey, maybe we got something. Maybe we can make another record or something, and we kind of struggled a little bit over the next few years with that, trying to make that work and it didn't work. We kind of failed, and we thought, yeah, we'll just shelve this thing. And then in 2017, um, we got an offer again from Oliver from the same festival. He said, hey, you guys did a great job before. Would you like to come back? And we're like, okay. So but now before that, Ken was not involved. The second time, Ken actually decided that he wanted to be involved. And then once Ken got involved, we went and played the show again. And we did much better. And then one of the guys from Nuclear Blast, Yop, who's the manager of A&R, he came up to me after the show, gave me a card, and he goes, "Hey, you guys did a great job. Let's do a record, and that's really how things got started."
No.
Sorry, I didn't want to drag that out.
No, no, no. It was great because
Oh
I
no,
mean that's a nice segue
we're
to my
learning.
next
Yeah.
question. We like to learn everything. My next question was about your albums with Nuclear Blast. I mean, these albums are fantastic. Like, are you intentionally going for a heavier sound with every album, or is this something that's organically happening within the band?
I mean, I would say it's somewhat organic. So so take so from when we started, after the conversation with Yop said, do a few demos and send it to us, and let's see what we can do. And it's not like we had any material in the can at that point. So um, so we just sort of like, okay, everybody, let's like do 3 songs and send it to them and see if they like it. And at that time, Kendall was in the band, and him, and of course Ted was not in the band. And at that time, Ed was, he kind of was and he kind of wasn't, because he was having a lot of personal issues. So he was really not able to contribute as far as writing goes. So Kendall and Ken kind of created like a new songwriting team, and and they came up with like 3. Well, no, actually, Ed came up with 1 song. So we basically, did these demos and sent it to them, and they loved it. And they're like, hey, let's, yeah, okay, we'll sign you guys. Um, After that, we really, um, from that album, and then also from the new album, because we really felt like most people, as far as the 2 original albums, we really feel like most people like the first album the best. And that's kind of always been really more of our direction. Time will tell. There was pressure from, it was the mid '80s, and we're competing with Whitesnake and Scorpions, and they wanted a hit. So that is really why that album is a little bit more commercial. But I think we originally wanted to do the second album more like the first, but there was that pressure from the label, understandably. And so coming, however many years later, with the new albums with Nuclear Blast, they were like, we want modern production, but we still want the original Fifth Angel sound. And we wanted to go back with something that was heavier, more like the first album. Um, and I think the Third Secret does a really good job. Um, when Angels Kill, we decided that we wanted to do that and even maybe get a little bit heavier, because we kind of feel like, um, I mean, it is organic to a degree, but we also feel like, hey, we want to pull in some, younger audience. We need new fans. Our old fans, they're dying off. So with the whole concept album, we knew that we would have a lot of room so that we could do a lot of things. And one of the things is we wanted to have some more modern, heavy, sounding songs, hopefully still in the vein and style of Fifth Angel, but then we also included, some classic sounding, Fifth Angel songs like, Wings of Steel, 5 Days to Madness, Light the Skies. Those, Run to the Black. Those are all, to me, very classic, Fifth Angel. But then you got the more modern songs like When Angels Kill, um, um, you know, Resist the Tyrant, um, you know, oh shit, I'm forgetting the song. But anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
It's a fantastic release, John. Very good.
yeah, the new album, When Angels Kill. I mean, just I think it's funny. You're like feeding me the lines that the questions I want to ask, which is fantastic. It's just a double disc concept album. Um, can you talk a little bit about your creative process and how this concept album came to fruition?
Okay, so the concept of the story, that's all Ken. This is something that he has been thinking about for actually we even considered the double album thing at the time of the Third Secret, but we figured that would be a little bit too risky since this is going to be our first record coming back, you know. So we kind of pushed that idea off to the shelf, but um, but it was really Ken's idea. So after the Third Secret, I think he really started working on this idea that he had in his head, and of course, we recorded this album during COVID, so we had plenty of time. Which is why we spent 2 years making on it because it was kind of like like hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. It's like, well, during COVID there was so much crap. It's like, well, okay, it's like, well, if we just do a regular LP, we can send it to the record company now, but it won't even go into vinyl production a year from now because during COVID, half of the vinyl production places disappeared. It was literally like 12 months, to get an album pressed. So we're like, well, what the fuck, we might as well just take the time and we had a lot of material. It's like, well, let's do a double album. We'll roll the dice, and what do we got to lose? So that's kind of where that whole concept came about. And then, of course, everybody had a lot of material. I had a lot of material. Ken had a lot of material. Ed had a lot of material. Ethan had, a lot of material.
Nice. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. You had mentioned some of the people you admire and some of your influences. I'd like to talk a little bit about your musical heroes, and maybe they're one and the same, but more to the fact of like, who have you met as far as musical heroes, and what was that meeting like? And has that influenced how you respond to fans who come up to you?
Hmm. Interesting question. So I'm gonna have to like pull from the old brain here. Well, let's see. If I go way back, so I grew up in Thousand Oaks, California. I'm a California boy. I would say like the first rock star that I ever met, bass player heroes was oh my God, was Tim Bogart. Tim
Mhm.
Bogart. I met Tim Bogart in Thousand Oaks. He was living in that area at the time. Of course, I had no clue who he really was or how good he was. I just knew that he was a rock star. So he didn't really influence me a lot, but I did meet Tim. I don't know how old I was. I was probably a teen or something like that. And then I would say the next hero was I met Alan Holdsworth in London in 1979 at the in London. What was the name of the club? It was the something jazz club. It was a jazz club. So I was there traveling with my with my neighbor who was a guitar player, and it was the 100 Jazz Club in London. And I remember we were just traveling there, and we saw like on a flyer we saw Jack Bruce and friends, you know, at the Jazz 100 Club featuring Alan Holdsworth.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing. So we went into so we go into this bloody little in a little pub, you know, in somewhere in London, and on a little stage, and there's Jack Bruce and Alan Holdsworth, you know, just like jamming and stuff like that. It was mind-boggling. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Yeah, it was amazing. And they're playing all jazz stuff, and I don't, I mean, trying to think who else. Uh, recently, a few years ago, I met, um, oh, oh, the guitar player of Creed,
Oh, Mark Tremonti.
Mark
Yeah.
Tremont. Yeah, yeah. So I met Mark about 5 years ago in Orlando. Friend of mine, Andy LaRock, the guitar player for King Diamond. He's a good friend,
Yeah.
and he was on tour with King, and they were playing downtown Orlando. So I had gone up there because my daughter lives there, and because I was on the guest list and everything, I wound up getting seated. It was funny because it was like all in a row. I got, my daughter and we got seated right next to Mark, and then right next to Morgan, and I forget the other guy's name. So the drummer and the bass player for Seven Dust,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, yeah. So we're all sitting next. So I wound up meeting Mark, and he's like the most humble, generous guy you've ever met in your life. Just an amazing guy. And then we all went, backstage, and he was talking to Andy, and I was just so blown away by like how humble and gracious, that a guy of that stature, can be. And he's an amazing musician, and I'm a big fan of Alter Bridge. I love their shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's cool. Because we have met a lot of people that we admire on this show, and it's always mind blowing for us. And we had interviewed Matt Thompson last year, King Diamond's drummer. And King Diamond's slated to come on when the new album comes out. He's going to be on our show, so we are super excited to meet him as well. So,
I've never met King. I've never met King. I don't know him, but Andy, his right hand man is, he's been a friend. Him and his wife been a friend of mine for a long time, and he is a wonderful guy. Like you would just like never like he could just be sitting next to you, and you're like he's just a regular guy. There's no rock star. He's like the most dedicated family man I've ever met in my life. He's just the coolest guy, and of course he's a amazing fucking guitar player.
oh yeah, well that's awesome. Well, tell him that we said hi. So, yeah, we'd love to have him on.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about touring, because I know Fifth Angel just did some touring. So do you prefer like smaller, intimate venues or larger arenas? From a fan's point of view, being close to a band is fantastic, but what's it like from a band's point of view?
I prefer the bigger the better. Um, but honestly, for me personally, I don't care. But I like the larger venues myself.
Hmm. Well, when you play the festivals, do you get to enjoy the festival as, in the atmosphere as a fan as well, or is it all business? Like you get in, you play, and then you have to leave?
Mm, I usually try to yeah, I particularly like to interact. So because obviously you always get, to the festival like a day early or whatever. So I always I can't say this for all the members, but I always go to the festival and try to see some of the bands, that are playing before us. Like just recently in Germany, we played the Keep It True festival for the third time, and we got there early. And a good friend of mine, James Rivera of Hellstar, he was doing the warm up show. So I made it a point to go out and see James's show because I'm going to support him. So I'm that kind of person. Especially if there's a band where maybe I know the members, I'm going to go and see them and support them, just as I would expect them to do the same.
Sure. Yeah,
And I
makes sense.
enjoy that.
Yeah, nice. So, what is your favorite food to eat on the road?
Food?
Yeah.
Well, I don't eat junk food, so I try to eat really clean as much as possible. In Germany, well, in Europe, it's pretty easy to do because Europe has great food. So I just whatever. There isn't anything that's particularly a favorite. But I had the best fucking steak in Tauber, Tower Beach, Tauber, whatever. That was the where we were staying in Germany in this past April. I had the best goddamn steak there. It was better than anything I've had in the States. It was freaking amazing.
Oh, nice. What made it so good?
Wow. It was just, well, first of all, it's probably a real piece of meat. It's not genetically modified,
Yeah.
It doesn't have hormones, and it's a real fucking piece of meat. And it was just cooked perfect.
Nice.
You don't need a lot. It was amazing.
Mhm.
So, the food in Europe is that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah. Okay.
Food. My wife is from Europe, and she has really kind of opened up my eyes as far as food goes. Here in the States, as compared to what they do in Europe.
All right. We love to hear crazy road stories. The crazier the better. So, what is one of the most outrageous touring stories that you can share? I don't, if you need to throw somebody on the bus, I mean, I don't want to push buttons, or you
Right,
feel
right.
free to do whatever you want. We've heard some crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
just lay it on us, John.
I mean, I've spent, half my life I spent, on the road, with different bands, not necessarily, with Fifth Angel. With Fifth Angel, there really hasn't been anything really crazy, exciting, that's happened to us, other than the typical stuff. Well, like a volcano, erupts, and we don't know if we're going to be able to make it there, and oh no, no,
Yeah, the typical stuff,
do.
volcanoes, of
No,
course.
okay, so okay, so here's a good one with Fifth Angel. So in 2019, right after the release of The Third Secret, we are booked into a festival called Metal Assault, which is in Würzburg, and that would have been February of 2019. So um, and we had just released The Third Secret. Now originally, we had some issues between the release date and then that festival, because as you guys may or may not know, Kendall quit the band. You guys know about that?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, on The Third Secret, I'm not sure if you're familiar with The Third Secret. that album was basically only the three of us. So it was Ken, Kendall, and myself. So Kendall Bechtel, he played all of the guitars and he did all the singing on that album. And so when in 2019 when we started adding shows, of course, it's kind of, and then at the end of that year, because Ed had stepped out of the band for personal reasons, but then at the beginning of 2019, he then kind of came back into the band. But the album obviously was already done. So Ed was back in the band, myself, Ken on drums, and then Kendall, on lead guitar and lead vocals. Um, However, Kendall was not comfortable. He was comfortable doing the songs that he recorded, but he was not comfortable singing Ted's songs from the old albums. He was just like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Whatever. So that was because we were originally like, well, let's go out as a four-piece, right? And he's like, he's like, I don't want to front the band. I don't want to be a front man. I just want to play guitar and then sing the songs that I recorded on the Third Secret. So we're like, okay. So we're like, okay, we'll get another singer, right? That'll come in and do all of the old material, right? And we'll go out as a five-piece, and which made sense. So that's when we hired Steve Carlson, who's the singer on the Third Secret. But then and then we had booked gigs, right? So we had booked this festival, and I'm sorry I'm dragging this out. But then for whatever reason, and I still don't know why, um, Kendall quit the band before we were supposed to go to Germany and play this festival, and we were headlining that festival. So it was a big fucking deal, and we're like, what the hell, And he quit. So so then that's when we hired Ethan Brosh and brought him in. Ethan only had like 3 weeks to learn the whole frickin' set. Steve, and then of course now Steve has to learn all of the old stuff and the new songs that we're playing. So we have two new members, right? It's hard enough with one new member, but then
Yeah.
you
got half of the band is new. It's hard. Yeah.
two fucking new members with guys that you don't even really know. You've never played with them. So there was like this huge stress, especially on Ken and I, because Ken and I are really kind of the owners of the band. And we're stressed out, and we're like, we're fucking headlining, and we got these new guys, and and how are we gonna fucking pull this shit off? So long story short, my stress level is like 11.
Right.
It goes to 11, right? And the so the plan was that we were all going to fly to Phoenix and rehearse for like 4 days. Then from Phoenix, we're all going to fly to Frankfurt, and then go do the festival, right? So what the fuck does John do, right? He gets on the plane, he flies to Phoenix without his fucking passport.
Nice.
But he doesn't fucking know it. Doesn't realize it because he doesn't need a fucking passport to go to fucking Phoenix. However, he needs a fucking passport to fly to fucking Frankfurt. He doesn't realize it until 12 hours before. So 4 o'clock. So I think so. It's like we have 10 o'clock 10 a.m. flights Thursday morning from Phoenix. Okay. We practiced Wednesday afternoon. And of course, Phoenix is, it's earlier. So we get done practicing. It's about 4 o'clock Phoenix time the night before Wednesday. And everybody's like, okay, all right, we're all going to show up at the airport at 8 a.m. Right? Everybody's got their guitars, everybody's got their passports. As soon as he said passports, I I dropped to my knees. I knew right then. I'm like, and he's like, what? I'm like, I don't have my passport. I don't have my fucking passport. And I mean, I literally, that moment in life when you realize that you have like totally fucked up so bad that like there's no way, like how are you gonna, it's like killing somebody, right? How are you gonna get out of that? Because it's not just me, it's the whole band. I can't get on that plane without that passport. Okay. And that's probably like the worst feeling in the world, where I just couldn't even think straight. And long story short, by some miracle, my neighbor had and I knew exactly, I left the passport right on my nightstand, right? I knew exactly where it fucking was. So by some freaking miracle, my neighbor had a key to my apartment, and I called her up, and she went and got my passport, made it to a FedEx place that was closing in 15 minutes, and got it sent overnight to Phoenix. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, I had the fucking passport in my hand.
Wow.
2 hours before I had to get on the plane. Because if I didn't, and the other thing too is because the flights were all booked together, as like a group, right? So the airline told me, she said, if you don't get on that plane, your entire flight there and back will be canceled. It would have cost me like $5,000 if I didn't get on the plane to rebook it. So this is like, okay, maybe I believe in God, at this point, because everything lined up, and when I got on that plane, I was getting nips, and I was just going like,
Wow.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's the only, like, as far as like with Fifth Angel, that's the only like really exciting, crazy story that I've had. Now in earlier, previous years, 20 years ago, I was in a band, and a guy like punched me on stage, because I was, boinking his girlfriend, stuff like that.
Now that's a good
Oh yeah.
story.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
John. Yes.
Yeah, I'm playing in this band, and this guy, come up to the stage, and he was kind of like, hey, come on over here. I thought he was going to request, Freebird or something like that. And I'm playing, and I kind of, put my head down, and bam, he just knocked me out. He just clocked me, and it was like something out of the Motley Crue movie Dirt. So I'm literally on the ground with the stars, circling, and then the guitar player and the keyboard player, all of a sudden they jump on the guy, and they're beating him. Then his buddies join in, and it's a big brawl, on the dance floor type of thing, shit like
That's
that.
awesome. Well, two great stories, John. I mean,
Yeah.
that's passport
That's
and
what we're
getting
looking
punched.
for. Welcome to the show.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Later on, couple out, whatever, an hour later, I went up to the guy. I said, bro, well, why did you hit me? He goes, oh, you're fucking my girlfriend. I said, well, who's your girlfriend? And then it says their name, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, she failed to. He was like in the military or something, so he was like out to sea for like a month, and of course she failed to let me know that she was in a relationship. But
Oh,
after that,
wow.
we were buddies. Buying him drinks.
Eskimo brothers, as
Yeah.
they would say. Yeah, nice. Okay. Last question about touring and the road life. What are some of the quirky requests in your rider? We love to hear about the riders. Do you have special foods or drinks or clothing
Well,
or maybe flowers like Mariah Carey? We love to know. What's in your rider, John?
no, nothing. Really, nothing. It's really really boring. It's really boring. Yeah.
Okay.
Because really none of us are, none of us really are big drinkers or anything like that, and none of us have any weird freaking diets. So yeah, there's nothing normal or nothing abnormal at all. So
No 6 dozen white roses, nothing like that. Okay.
no, no, sacrificing virgins or anything.
Yeah, nice.
Oh.
All right. Well, I want to switch gears. I want to ask you some hypothetical situations here.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to create a supergroup. Which 3 or 4 musicians, past or present, would you want to be in your group?
Super. Oh, well, that'll probably going to be like what's my solo album is going to be.
Okay.
Um, well, first of all, I don't really believe in supergroups, but as far as like, and I am planning, hopefully this fall, I am planning on doing a solo project. I've
Nice.
got a bit of material. It's not like Fifth Angel at all, quite different. Um, so going off of like who I would like to have in that project, I'll base it off of that.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be one of my best friends, which is Jeff Loomis from Arch Enemy. We Jeff and I go way back, and him and I actually recorded. We did like a 3 song demo of music that I had written, along with a really good friend of ours from Seattle, Gary Thompson, who was the drummer in Q5 and TKO. So it was like this raw, it's all instrumental, 3 song thing that we recorded like in Gary's living room. And it's really cool stuff. And I'm actually thinking of resurrecting that material and and then bring it into a modern setting. But Jeff Loomis would be the first one, that I'm going to ask for this project that I would love to have. Um, who else? I will probably, supergroup. Okay, so supergroup. Then does that mean people who you would just love to have, but you would never be able to get them
Yeah,
in?
anyone past or present. They could be living, they
Mhm.
could be gone,
Anybody
and
wants? Just playing
anybody.
with you.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Who would you want? Your ideal band, who would you want to see all playing together in your supergroup?
Yeah. Drums. So obviously Ken would be a consideration. I'd love, obviously, Ken would be one. Um, oh boy. I have drummers that there's a lot of drummers that I really like. I can't quite think. I'm kind of stymied on this one. I don't know. I mean, because that's something that I really have to give a lot of thought to. No.
It's okay. We can let you think about that, and we can move on.
I'd, I'd love to have Alyssa from Arch Enemy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
just right, like taking. Yeah, I'd love to have her. On the vocals. I'd also vocal wise, I would love to have Bjorn from Soilwork.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Oh yeah,
very cool.
very nice.
I
Okay.
love his stuff. Um, and um, I mean, if I thought about it, I would probably be able to, come up with with a little bit more. So I don't know.
No, that's
Sure.
great. That's great.
No,
Um,
yeah.
our second hypothetical: if you could be any superhero for 24 hours, who would you be, and what would you do with your day of power?
It's super. I don't know. Um, I don't know.
We like to ask questions that no one else asks, John. And I think that's why people, because we're just gonna, we like to learn different things. You
I
probably
kind
been never asked this question before.
of feel like I'm a superhero, you know? So, um, you know, I never think about like, oh, hey, I'd like to be that, or I'd like to be that. I kind of like just being myself, you know? Um, now having, okay, so here, this would be great. I just be myself, but have some superhero powers.
Okay, that's good.
All right. Okay, so if I had some super human powers, um, I would probably like erase, all of the idiocracy.
There we go. You'd need a lot of power for that.
Very good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I would
right.
like erase this, the stupid, just the stupidity of the people in this country or this world, and try, like actually, bring back common fucking sense.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. I hope you
Awesome.
get those powers. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I doubt.
You know, well, we are heavy metal horror, so I'm going to talk a little bit about horror and ask you, are you a horror movie fan?
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, what
Yeah.
are some of your favorite horror movies?
Oh, well, now, I'm getting old, so I'm not watching as nearly as many as possible, because I don't want bad nightmares. But no, I'm a big, especially when I was younger, I was, a big, well, shit, big horror, especially in the 80s, I'm a big Hellraiser, I watch, matter of fact, I think I watched the very first Hellraiser movie on Christmas night.
Nice. When you're opening packages, you're thinking, is this the way to open this present or not?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I was a big Hellraiser fan. I saw not all of them, but I saw a lot of them.
hmm
The Hellraiser movies. I mean, I was never a big Halloween fan. I always thought that was just kind of, but I liked a lot of, I mean, shit. I liked a lot of, a lot of the David Cronenberg movies and of course what's the guy, of course Stephen King and John Carpenter,
Yeah.
a lot of, all of that kind of stuff. I didn't get into any of the like super just, really gory stuff, but I liked, stuff that had, monsters and sci-fi, um, you know,
hmm What's the scariest movie you remember as a kid? The movie that scared you as a kid?
as a kid. Oh shit, that was a long time ago. Of course, I love the Poltergeist movie. but I wasn't a kid. As far as like what really, oh, I don't know. Of course, I watched, as a kid, I watched all that black and white shit. I would
Oh yeah.
watch Twilight Zone, and I love the Outer Limits. I mean, I
Hmm.
watched all of the Outer Limits stuff. Um, shit. What else? And you know what? Okay, so what scared the shit out of me when I was a kid was the black and white Mexican horror movies. Do
Like
you,
Santos
there
and the
there
Aztec Mummy.
yeah,
Hmm.
there were the Mexican horror movies, and those scared the shit out of me. I'm trying to think of the name.
Night of the Bloody Apes. That's one.
Is
Yeah.
it? Okay, name a couple other.
There was a whole slew of like Santos versus the Aztec Mummy. It was a wrestler, and there was a bunch of those. Let's see. Did they do Night of the Cobra Woman, or was that the Philippines?
The
But
scream, the screaming woman or something like that. I don't
okay.
know. I don't know, but I remember there's some of those ones were really scary. And then there was like the brain that wouldn't die.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Was
creepy one.
yeah, was that the one where the scientist like took the girl and he cut her head off?
Yeah, it was his girlfriend or a wife, and she gets in a
Right.
car accident. And he puts her head in a tray.
Kept her alive. And
Yeah,
telepathic thing with the arms, right?
yeah.
Arms on the
Yeah.
wall, and
Oh
and
yeah,
and yeah, that kind of shit. Yeah, it was like that.
oh
And
yeah.
and then some of that stuff, and then some of the Vincent Price, movies, or the Edgar Allan Poe movies.
Yeah, he did a lot of those with Roger Corman. The Telltale,
Hmm.
he did fuck chop the one with the
Oh gosh.
swinging blade. And
Oh,
did the
The
oh,
Pit
Pit the Pendulum,
pit and the
Master of the Red
pendulum.
Death,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then there was the
Buster.
other one where the crypt of Monte Cristo,
Mhm.
where he walled the guy up,
That was
yeah,
Tales of Terror, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Nice. Those are all classics.
yeah.
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 I recently, like this past Halloween, I watched a bunch of that old shit,
Hmm.
I watched the Tales from the Crypt, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
some of those were great. Like,
So you
what,
love some of the Hammer films too, John? Like
yeah, yeah,
Curse of Frankenstein
Curse of
and all that? Yeah.
Frankenstein. Yeah. Christopher
right.
Lee, Peter Cushing.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah. Chop and I grew up with those and all the Universal horror movies, Wolfman, the Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein. We were watching that since like I can remember earliest memories watching horror movies. They scared the shit out of me, but I'm gonna watch them.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I watch. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Or like Pumpkinhead.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ed
Yeah,
Harley.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great. That's
They-
a fun series, right? Yeah, and the Pumpkinhead's great. That's a
Shit
great
like
makeup.
that. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, what was if you remember, your favorite Halloween costume?
Shit. Oh, oh no. You know, a, a pillow over the frickin' head.
Yeah, like Charlie Brown. Yeah,
Yeah.
get a lot of rocks.
I
Yeah.
got a fucking rock.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and of course, that was of course one of my favorite. The Halloween. Charlie Brown.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The Great Pumpkin,
Great
Charlie Brown.
pumpkin.
Yeah, the Great
Yeah.
Pumpkin. That had, that went right in with all of the horror stuff. Because that was the best one. The Christmas one was good, but the Great Pumpkin was the best.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah.
And then last horror question, your favorite candy to eat at Halloween? Your favorite Halloween candy?
Favorite. Oh boy. Probably either can well, it was probably the sweet tarts. Now I remember, back in the day, sweet tarts, it was like that big. It was huge. It was like a big frickin' clump, um, that one. I love sweet tarts. I love the candy corn, and I love the Heath bars.
Nice. All right. We're going to switch topics to one-offs. These can be anything, just anything at all. Okay. Who's your favorite writer, or maybe some of your favorite books by that writer?
Hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not really well read. I didn't read a lot, and still don't read a lot. But I would say two. So when I was younger, I really got into the Carlos Castaneda books,
Oh, yeah.
which that's kind of led me on the my my journey back in the day of psychedelics.
Hmm.
Um, and then also the Tolkien books.
Yeah.
I remember I read all of those books before, obviously way before the movies came out.
Hmm.
Those
Nice.
are really kind of my two favorite ones.
Okay.
Um,
Who's
and
your
then,
favorite?
and then there was another book, and we'll see if you know this movie. So there was another book that I read called The Serpent and the Rainbow.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the movie where he gets buried, about voodoo,
It's
you
all
know?
it's all about
Oh
voodoo.
yeah,
Yeah.
That
Real
that's great.
voodoo. Real
Yeah,
voodoo.
right. So I actually read the book, and then saw the movie, and it was very interesting because you know the book is actually based on fact, you know,
Hmm.
well, fact of what obviously, and the book is based on fact. The movie, obviously, took some liberty, but it is kind of a factual occurrence of what had happened, where a chemical, a pharmaceutical company had sent, a guy down to Haiti, to investigate the tetro, whatever the toxin
Yeah, that substance.
in the puppy,
Yeah.
which they do, which is a anesthetic used today, but that chemical was used in the voodoo religion. And what's cool about the book is the book actually explains the actual roots of the voodoo religion, that came from Africa. But the thing is that the religion, it's not like an evil religion. It's just it's it's a positive religion, but had been used for some bad cases. But that was a really cool, interesting learning experience.
Nice. Who's your favorite cartoon character?
I don't read cartoons.
Okay. Which non-music celebrity would you most like to have a drink with?
Um, Probably um, Keanu Reeves, because
Cool.
I'm a big John Wick fan.
Yeah, that last movie was really good.
It was
John Wick
really
4.
good. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, number four,
Yeah.
I just watched it recently, and I was kind of really, I'm like, well, I'm not, like really not sure what they're going to do here, because there were so many different outcomes. Well, first of all, after Parabellum, I was like, okay, obviously they have to end this series. How are they going to fucking end this thing? And I was thinking about it before the movie even came out. There's a couple different ways. How are they going to do it? Are they going to? Is he going to gather like all of the forces, all the people that are pissed off at the table, and they're all going to join forces, and they're going to bring the whole table down. Which would possibly could have worked, but that probably would have been at least another two movies, right? So,
Right.
um, I wasn't really sure if they were going to do something like that. And then, when I finished John Wick 4, um, obviously, because obviously that's it. It's done. And
Actually, no, the fifth one's in the works.
how could it be?
Yeah,
I don't know. All I know is the fifth one
yeah, I
is in the
read something
works.
about that.
How could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's dead.
I know. I know.
So the
I don't
only,
know.
so
Just
the only other thing would be, okay, he's dead, and now
someone else takes over,
the
or
thing.
there's a miraculous, it's either a regression story or they get him, revive him some way. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out.
If they do that, that'll ruin it. Now, the only thing that would even make sense would be like, as I was just saying, because the table obviously has a lot of enemies. The Bowery King and the Rumaroska. They've pissed a lot of people off. So if somehow they decided to join forces and then take the table down, okay, that would be the only realistic.
That would
Uh,
make sense considering
that
the rest of
would
the
be the only
story.
thing that would make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Do anything else, it would just be fucking stupid. But let's just say, not knowing, I thought, well, you know what? This was a really fucking good way to end this series, because he achieved what he wanted to do. He got his freedom, and he helped a friend, and he's with his wife, and at the end of the day, nobody's gonna, just like in real life, nobody has taken the mafia down.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody's done it.
Yeah, I didn't want to see the character die. I hate that, but it was such a great
Right,
season
but it
story.
made sense. It
Yeah.
made sense, and honestly, it was kind of like now he
He's
finally
at peace.
peace.
Yeah,
Right.
he
So
finally has it. Right.
like I thought it was excellent,
Yeah.
in that way.
Have you seen the Bob Odenkirk movie Nobody? Came out in 2021. It's very similar to
Killer.
John Wick. So if you like John Wick, check out it's called Nobody with Bob Odenkirk from Better Call
Fucking blast,
Saul.
man. It is
Amazing.
great.
Amazing movie. You're gonna love that. So that's very similar too. And the last one off question is what's something that almost no one knows about you?
Okay, say that again.
Something that almost nobody knows about you. I'm not going to ask you to like reveal any secrets or anything, but just something that most people might not know about you.
I think there's a lot that knows about me.
Maybe a particular hobby or something that you do.
Yeah, well, I'm not I'm not like the typical musician. So I have, a lot of other things that I do. I'm not just like, all about, music and heavy metal. I have a lot of interests. Well, first of all, I had a career, doing IT work. I had my own business. I'm retired now, thank God. But um, but in addition to that, yeah, I'm a kind of very diverse person. Obviously music, is a part of me. It's, it will be to the day I die. I love music, but I'm also an avid scuba diver. I surf. I love the beach. I'm really more of a beach bum than I am a heavy metal guy. Um, I'd rather be on a beach somewhere, than sitting, in a crowd at a heavy metal concert. That's just kind of the person I am. I'm pretty reserved. I'm quiet. I don't, post my mom just died 2, 3 days ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So
Uh,
sorry, John.
and I appreciate that. I don't post stuff like that.
Sure.
Nobody knows about that. Only my immediate family.
Sure.
And I actually struggled with, with canceling this, but it's like, oh my God, it's like I already, you know,
Oh,
bailed on these guys. Now I'm gonna tell them, oh well, my mom just died. And they're gonna be, yeah, sure, right,
oh,
but
Oh, no.
no,
You totally understood, man.
okay. So I'm kind of a very, private type of person.
sure. Well,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you for coming on with
Thank
everything.
you
Really.
for yes, for taking the time for us. And just our deepest sympathies,
Yeah,
John. So,
I'm enjoying this.
oh,
This
oh, good. I'm
I,
glad that you could
I
enjoy
like
your time with us.
I like these fun, interactive type of interviews. Not the, here's the 10 questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did
that's what we
you
hear a
guys
lot.
do
Well, yeah.
in
Thank you.
1986? Why did you name the band Fifth Angel? I'm like, the fuck do I know? I don't remember. I,
Yeah.
I really don't like talking about the old days. Only not that I don't mind it, but honestly, I just don't fucking remember. I don't remember. They're like,
Yeah.
well, what happened? I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, we try to do things that no one else asks, and we try to avoid those questions. Although we like to have the obviously some background, but we try to do things that are different, and just engage our guests in different ways. So,
And
yeah,
I love horror movies.
yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. We'll have you back when we do some more horror stuff.
Yeah.
We'd love to have
Yeah.
you back. Um, I'm going to switch gears now to a little game that we like to call Blast Beats. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. It's usually like a multiple choice or a choice between two things. And I want you to give me the answer as soon as possible, as soon as you can. All right. First thing off your head. All right. Are you ready for Blast Beats? Here
I'm
we
ready.
go. Hot dog or hamburger?
Hot dog.
Favorite pizza topping?
What?
Your favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Paperback or Kindle?
Paper.
PC or Apple?
PC.
Movie theater or streaming?
Streaming.
Favorite holiday? I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Um, Favorite holiday. Christmas.
Christmas. All right. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
Dog or cat?
Neither. No, dog.
Okay. Dog.
Dog.
All right. Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Avengers or Justice League?
Avengers.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Dracula or Frankenstein?
Dracula.
Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster?
Which was the first one?
Bigfoot. Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster?
Loch Ness.
How do you like your steak cooked? Your favorite movie snack?
Popcorn.
Your favorite sport?
Scuba diving.
Your favorite subject in school?
Smoking pot.
What was that?
Smoking pot.
Oh, no, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Are you still a pot smoker? Do you still enjoy cannabis?
No, I never. No, I no, I no, I don't. I don't. Pot just doesn't agree with me at all.
Okay.
So
Uh,
in school, my favorite subject it was I don't know. I mean, I didn't. I'm not a scholastic person. But if I had to pick, I don't know, gym.
okay. Your favorite board game?
Um, Probably be Chinese checkers.
Okay. Your favorite Christmas gift that you ever received? The best Christmas gift you ever got?
Um, this is like a yeah. Um,
Red Rider with the compass and the
yeah,
stop and distinguished
right,
tells
right.
time.
And I had one of those. I had one of.
Nice.
I don't know the Christmas, but favorite shit, man. These are like really, you're really stretching my brain here.
Well, it's okay. If you don't want, remember, it's okay. I only have two more, so it's okay for the blast beats. So it's okay. I will ask this one.
Can't remember. Probably a skateboard. Probably a skateboard.
Okay. Your celebrity crush.
Um, I love Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, nice. Okay. Um, and your favorite scene or line from This Is Spinal Tap.
Right, it goes to 11.
There we go. All right, all right. This next game we like to call the hot seat because it tends to make people squirm. I'm going to name a band, then I want you to tell me your favorite album by that band.
Okay. And what if I don't know the band?
Then you say, I don't know that band, and we'll move on.
Okay.
It's all right. Yeah. You can't know everything, right? So this is just a list of bands that we like to ask. So Black Sabbath.
I think not the first album. Was the one that had maybe the one that had all right now.
Oh, Master of Reality.
Just reality.
Yeah, Sweet Leaf on it. Yeah.
Sweet Leap. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Okay.
Album.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Which album?
Master of Reality.
Master of Reality.
Yeah, yeah. We'd love to have Ozzy on sometime.
Yeah.
And any of the members, that would be great.
He's also still alive,
Right, right.
I don't know. I don't think he's gonna last.
No, he's not looking good.
I think he's gonna go by the end of the year. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I hope you're wrong, obviously, but yeah, he's got some health issues.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, the next band, Judas Priest.
I like Turbo Lover, but I also like Painkiller.
Mm-hmm. The Beatles.
Gotta think about maybe Abbey Road, Revolver.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. Rush.
Rush. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, good. Opeth.
Don't know them.
Okay, they're a progressive metal band. I think you'd like them. Melodic progressive, out of Sweden. Yeah, really, really good band.
But I don't really know their music.
Yeah, yeah. Dream Theater.
Would be their second album, which is
Awake.
it's the next one.
The second album.
Oh, is it Change of Seasons?
The one that has
Change of Seasons?
one that has
Pull Me Under.
Yeah, Pull Me Under, that album.
Yeah, Images and Words.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
Iron Maiden.
Would be probably play with magic. No, or the one that has time. Shit.
Somewhere in Time.
Yeah, somewhere in.
Oh, Somewhere in Time. Okay. Queensryche.
Definitely Operation Mindcraft.
All right. Anthrax.
I don't have a favorite for there.
Okay. Slayer.
Not them either.
All right. Kiss.
I'm not big fan. Not big fan of them.
Sure.
And I'm not a big fan of Kiss either.
Okay, no problem. Alice in Chains.
Would definitely be Dirt.
Hmm. King Diamond.
Them.
Okay. Dio.
The Last in Line.
All right. Van Halen.
Mm, Probably the first one.
Okay. Just two more. Motorhead.
Mm, Not, no, no, really. Yeah, I was never really into Motorhead.
Okay.
No,
And
a friend of mine.
all right. And the last one, Fifth Angel.
Um, I would say probably the first album.
Okay. Now I am going to this next song is called Name That Festival.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to share I'm going to say Fifth Angel is playing at a festival with two other artists. I'm going to spin the wheel of mystery to find these two artists, and then I'd like for you to come up with the name of that festival. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here.
Okay.
All right. Share screen. There we go. Oh, did we freeze up here?
Oh, you.
There we go. Hold on. I love when technology decides to take a shit on you.
That's it. It's your internet connection.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to spin the wheel of mystery
My glasses on
and
here.
see who the first one is. Oh, it is Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. All right. So Fifth Angel, Johnny Cash, and it's coming around. Oh, it looks like Wham. All right.
Oh,
Wham.
okay, I
There
don't
we
understand. So now what? This
You get to name the
You
festival.
get to name the
So Fifth
festival.
Angel playing with Johnny Cash and Wham. So
Fifth
you get the honest
Angel,
name.
Johnny Cash, and Wham are all playing the same festival. You got to come up with a name of that festival. What's that festival's name?
fuck me. I don't
Oh,
know. Shit. I don't know. That's crazy. I don't know you know, where's the tequila? I don't know.
All right. Hey, that's fine. Where's the
exactly.
tequila festival? Okay, good to know. It's all right. I like that. We're winding down here, John. Just a few more questions, and we're all fans of other artists. What is your favorite piece of memorabilia? Maybe it's an autographed something memento, a concert T-shirt, or something like that. Something that you have from an artist that you've seen. Your favorite piece of memorabilia.
Um, I do believe somewhere I have Ozzy's autograph.
Oh, nice. Okay. Do you remember how you got that?
No. Well, no, I don't. I don't remember. Now, I did meet Ozzy when Fifth Angel when we first signed with Epic. Um, this would have been the late 80s. So we were down in LA doing some PR stuff. And and at that time, Ozzy was on Epic as well. So they threw like a private party in a restaurant, like off of Melrose Avenue, and Ozzy showed up with Zach Wilde. He had just hired Zach, and Zach was just like a freaking teenager then. He was a little skinny kid, but I do remember. I had the opportunity to like have an actual one-on-one conversation with Ozzy, for about a good 5 minutes. Um, and it may have been at that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
And
That's
it was
cool.
it was a really interesting conversation because he was explaining why I don't fuck. He goes, I don't know what the fuck is going on. He goes, I don't know what the fucking people are listening to or young kids. He goes, so he just didn't know. So he goes, that's why he was hiring these young, guitar players. Because they were in touch with what was happening. So I thought it was very interesting, and of course it made perfect sense. Of course, Sharon probably, she's the one that probably said, we need to hire young guitar players.
Yeah, the story is that they found, he had a cassette in a bucket full or box full of cassettes from aspiring guitarists who wanted to be him, and he just kind of pulled it out and popped it in, and he just really loved his sound, all those squeals and things, and it was just kind of like, okay, there's the one, you know. Uh,
Well, even my friend Jeff Loomis, Jeff actually went down and had auditioned for Ozzy, and Sharon said, "Well, he's too old."
Oh, okay. Wow. That's well. All right. Well,
You don't
Zach
get
really turned out. I mean, a good gig for him,
you don't get any better than Jeff Loomis.
Right. Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but so it was very interesting. So
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
yeah, it's Ozzy and I also do believe I have a signature on a coaster of BB King.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that's great.
Man.
So, um, our last formal question to you, John, is what are your plans for the rest of 2023?
The rest of 2023,
Yeah, we got four months to go.
I'm hoping,
5 months.
yeah. So this of course, with my mom passing,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take care of all her, settle her affairs. But this fall, I am hoping to start working on my solo album.
Nice. That's going to be good. Would you please come back when that solo album is in the works or when it's done? Would you please come back and let us know how it's coming? Or would we be able to, would you mind if we gave it a live reaction listen to? Would that be okay with you? Oh, that'd be wonderful. And the last thing,
Wonderful.
if you wouldn't mind, would you mind giving us a bumper? This is John Macko with Fifth Angel. You're watching Heavy Metal Horror. Would you mind doing something like that for us?
Station ID, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
This is John Macko from Fifth Angel, and you are watching Heavy Metal Horror. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
great,
so
John.
much, John.
Yeah.
We have had a blast getting to know you. Thank you for being patient with us and for answering all of our questions and being such a good sport. We really appreciate your time, and just wish you the best as you have this very unfortunate situation. But just thank you for being so generous with us and spending time with us. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank
Thank you, John.
Well, we're going to do our station wrap out. We're going to do our sign off, and then we're going to invite you to bring up the horns with us. So, all right. You can find Heavy Metal Horror Podcast on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. If you're watching, that's where you're at. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you know someone who would like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
Chop top.
And you've been watching and listening to, all right, Sean, bring up the horns. Heavy Metal Horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.